Welcome to my fellow door openers to the third episode of Doors of the Universe podcast. I can't believe we made it this far. I can't believe we're here this soon. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited you're here. Where do you begin? This is it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Lots happened since I last saw you. Work has been crazy. I got promoted and am now in a supervisorial position. This is the first. Very exciting, very new, very, I'd say nerve-wracking. It's the first time for me to be in a managerial type role. So that's exciting. That's new. Since we last talked, I was in contact with Rogue Brewery, and they got me some pretty cool swag, I guess you can call it. I wrote them, told them how much I loved the Monsters of IPAs campaign they've got. Initially, my thought was I was going to ask Safeway when they were done with their displays if I could have them. Got a hold of Rogue. I went to Safeway, nowhere to be found. So I got a hold of Rogue. I reached out to Rogue, and they actually got me the displays and a 6-pack with 2 of each of the IPAs. So that was pretty cool. Pretty nice of them. Like I said, I've always been a big fan of Rogue. I am sober now, so I don't indulge in the Rogue, but my girlfriend is enjoying them. So there's that. Because I told him I had gotten all the stickers. I will be buying a Bat Squatch shirt eventually, because they got little stickers for all the little things, all the little. It's not gonna show up well. There we go. It's hard because I got a blurred out background, but it says Rogue across the top there. The people listening, you have no idea what's going on, but I'm showing off the sticker to the YouTube viewers. Either way, very nice of them. Very cool that they hooked me up with that stuff. I love them. I think they're awesome. I love the artwork. I love having big memorabilia. I don't know. It's so that was cool of them. Let's see what else. We're not gonna go too far into politics, but Supreme Court overruling Roe versus Wade. That was crazy huge, and I don't know why unexpected, but I mean, I don't know. No. Let's see. I think I'm wording this wrong. It was unexpected. I did not foresee that happening, even with the way the Supreme Court was set up. But it is where we're at now, and as we always say, you can't ban abortions. You can only ban safe abortions. So, shame on you, SCOTUS. Let's try and. I have a feeling things are going to be happening and put into place where that gets changed back. Or at least I hope it does, because back alley abortions should never be the first option for somebody that is having an unwanted pregnancy. I don't know. Man, it's, every day I just show up. And I've been doing this for about 2 years now, where I just kind of show up, because it seems like each new day, when I think the world can't get any crazier, it gets that little bit more crazy. I mean, that's a lot of bit more crazy, that the overruling. But yeah, we're here. I mean, right now, it's a good day for recording a podcast. It's a good day to be listening to a podcast. So thank you for joining me. I'm excited to continue on with this series. As I mentioned before, I was inspired by the rogue monsters of IPA. They had a three flavor series, each with different local cryptids of the area. Last podcast, we covered Colossal Claude, who quite the sea serpent. If you haven't listened to the episode yet, check it out. Colossal Claude, Columbia River, our Columbia River Paleosaurus. Maybe not. Maybe it was just a sea serpent. Who knows? If you haven't looked up an oarfish yet, look up an oarfish. They're not pretty to look at. But I don't think it was an oarfish. I think Colossal Claude is Colossal Claude and only Colossal Claude. And Marvin the Monster is Marvin the Monster and only Marvin the Monster. But that Colossal Claude is not who we're here to talk about today. Today, we're here to celebrate a history of lumberjacking, a history of tales told by the fire after a long day of chopping down the trees. This one actually, it comes from, this is an Oregon native. It is, as I said, it comes from lumberjack lore, which I thought was a really cool idea. I can't remember. I should have looked it up before. I'll include it in the notes or something of the podcast. But when we did the episode on the Van Meter monster, on We Don't Talk Politics, we talked about the person that had a book on the Van Meter monster. They had mentioned on one of the podcasts I was listening to with them that they were considering doing an episode on not an episode. They were considering writing a book about lumberjack lore. And I thought to myself, that's a really cool idea. I like that. I would put money towards knowing more about lumberjack lore. But this is Pacific Northwest lumberjack lore. This is specific to Oregon. And if you don't know, you're about to know about Gumberoo. So Gumberoo is quite the character. What I'll actually do is I'll start off with, there was a book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods. It is now at copyright infringement's gone or whatever. I can't remember what it's public domain now. Because the website I'm on is talking about how it's the 100th anniversary hypertext edition, which is lib.lumberwoods.org/fclw/gumberoo.html, which it has the entire book here, but we are focusing on the Gumberoo today. So we'll go ahead and go read through this really quickly, and then we'll just do a recap of what we know about the Gumberoo. So in the foggy region along the Pacific coast, from Grays Harbor to Humboldt Bay, there ranges a kind of creature that has caused much annoyance in the Lumberwoods. This is the Gumberoo, which, luckily, is so rare that only once in a great while is one seen. It is believed to remain in hiding most of the time in the base of enormous burned-out cedar trees, from where it sallies forth occasionally on frightful marauding expeditions. During these periods of activity, the beast is always hungry and devours anything it can find that looks like food. A whole horse may be eaten at one sitting. distending the Gumberoo out of all proportions, but failing to appease its hunger or cause it the slightest discomfort. The specimens seen are reported to have been coal black, but that may have been due to their being smirched with the charred wood. In size, the beast corresponds closely to a black bear, for which it might be mistaken only for the fact that the Gumberoo is almost hairless. To be sure, it has prominent eyebrows and some long, bristly hairs on its chin, but the body is smooth, tough, and shiny, and bears not even a wrinkle. The animal is a tireless traveler when looking for food, but is not swift in its movements or annoyed in the slightest degree by the presence of enemies. The latter characteristic is easily accounted for by the fact that no other animal within its range has ever found a successful method of attacking a Gumberoo, or a vulnerable spot in one's anatomy. Whatever strikes the beast bounds off with the same force. Its elastic hide hurls back with the equal ease the charging elk and the wrathy hornet. A rock or peavey thrown at the creature bounds back at whoever threw it, and a bullet shot against its hide is sure to strike the hunter between the eyes. It is believed that the scarcity of Gumberoos is due to their combustible character and the prevalence of forest fires. The animal burns like celluloid, with explosive force. Frequently during and after a forest fire is the heavy cedar near Coos Bay. Woodmen have insisted that they have heard loud reports quite unlike the sound of falling trees, and detected the smell of burning rubber in the air. So that is from Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods, speaking on our friend, the Gumberoo. So yeah, the Gumberoo. This is fun lore from the Lumberjack era. I took down some notes here. Its scientific name, which this creature does have a scientific name, Megalogaster repercussus. It was told by the Lumberjacks emerging America in the 19th and early 20th centuries, and it was used to explain sudden forest fires. This was back in the wild frontier days. It's around settler times. People are settling and needing some fine stories to tell by the fire at night, just to keep everybody occupied and keep everybody happy. They didn't have TV or internet or podcast back then, so we had storytelling, which I mean in itself, podcast is somewhat a form of storytelling. As far as its appearance, so it's as large as a black bear, but wider. So when you see pictures of it, drawings of it, I guess not pictures, drawings, it does appear like a bear, but it is more round. It's a round looking bear, like circular and from the side view. Because I mean, it could, as you heard, it can eat an entire horse and not be full, and it causes it no discomfort. So this when the Gumberoo is out and hungry, it gets big, stretches the stomach. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, the way the spelling is, I feel like it should be called Gumberoo. Well, it shouldn't be called that because of the spelling, Gumberoo. But if I were an old settler sitting by the fire, I imagine I'd talk like this and be talking about gold and finding Gumberoo, just out there in the woods setting fires. I did a lot of up and down with the voice there. It kind of went southern, kind of went old-timey, I don't know, minor, I guess. I don't know what we were going for there. don't judge me for that. But either way, Gumberoo is how I've heard it pronounced most often when looking it up. In fact, I've heard no one calling it Gumbero. But no, deep down inside, it will always be Gumbero to me. Either way, back to its appearance. It is completely hairless, except for a few small areas. Oh, and once again, as always, at least when it comes to these cryptids, there will be a lifelike, mind-blowing rendition that I've made, artistic rendition that I've made of the Gumberoo. Doing it now. I'm saying it. Of the Gumberoo on our Instagram and Twitter. And it will also be the cover artwork for the YouTube channel. The YouTube video, I guess, when you watch this. So be excited for that. So yeah, it's eyebrows and chin, has some bristly hairs. And it's the only place on the body of the Gumberoo that has any hair. It's got a tough leather-like skin. The skin is also impenetrable. It has dark, smooth, and extremely tough, coal-black leather-like skin. The skin possesses a high degree of elasticity. This makes the beast invulnerable to bullets, rocks, and arrows. Bullets will literally just bounce off the Gumberoo, which seems like a pretty good defense mechanism. I don't know. Their defense feature? It's not really a mechanism. I don't know. Like, I feel like a mechanism, something that goes into effect when you're in flight or fight mode, or flight mode. Either way. But yeah, how about that? That's some impressive skin there. That, yeah, so it seems like that makes it very hard to kill, correct? Considering its skin can't be penetrated. Although its weakness is fire. Although enjoys the charred remains of burnt woodland, the Gumberoo is extremely vulnerable to combustion, and therefore fire is employed to hunt down the creature. Apparently, the Gumberoo is filled with gas. Much like rats that can't burp, which is a fact. But rats cannot be killed with pop. That is an urban legend. There's not, they'd have to drink there's not enough carbonation in pop to kill a rat. So don't ever be awoken as I was today or earlier to that urban myth that I have done the research for you and figured out is not true. Rats can't burp, but they can't be killed by pop. But they could be killed by caffeine, but they would have to drink like a 20-ounce bottle's worth of pop to be killed by the caffeine. So theoretically, pop could kill a rat, but not because of the buildup gas. You're welcome. I needed to know, you needed to know, we all needed to know that. I'm sure most of you already knew that, and I am just learning things slowly, thankful to Google for all of its knowledge. So yes, a Gumberoo filled with gas. So yeah, it's very combustible. That is one way that they have figured out to kill the Gumberoo. when it does, and the Gumberoos literally explode once they are, once the fire reaches the gas that they are filled with, and the explosion smells like burning rubber, which you heard talking about how they would hear the sound in the forest, which sounded close. It didn't sound like a tree falling. They would get a report back, but then they would normally smell burning rubber. So I mean, this is fun. This is fun. Yeah. I would enjoy hearing this story sitting by the fire. I'd be like, oh, really? Yes, tell me more about this giant bear that is filled with gas. He ain't a bear. He's a Gumberoo. So yes, habitat. Where do the Gumberoos live? Gumberoos make their dens in the bases of huge, burned-out cedar trees along the Pacific coast. They are reported to be spread all along the coast from Washington State right down to California, from Grays Harbor to Humboldt Bay. The creature spends most of its time in a state of hibernation, only leaving its lair a few times a year to search for food. When active, the Gumberoo is always hungry and will eat any living creature that crosses its path. When it does leave hibernation, it is capable of eating enormous amounts in a single setting. It has been said to devour a whole horse at a time. This distends the creature's stomach massively, although it causes the Gumberoo no discomfort. Just think about that. I mean, you got this black bear coming out of the woods, coming up to your camp. You're sitting there eating your beans out of the frying pan. Next thing you know, your horse is being consumed whole. You just have to look on in terror because you know that the skin of the Gumberoo is impenetrable and there's no way to stop him unless you can somehow bring fire to the Gumberoo and make this explosion happen. But more likely than not, if I'm in the woods and I see a bear eating my horse, I'm probably going to be running the opposite direction as fast as I can. So yeah, avoid the Gumberoo if you can. That's your best bet. The Gumberoo has been seen roaming the burnt remains of forest fires, feasting on decayed and charred wood. So like I said, the Gumberoo will eat anything that seems like it's edible. Which, I mean, decayed and charred wood. Yummy. However, the beast is also known to devour almost anything from raccoons and rats to humans and horses. Like I said, run. Because at that point, it's your only option. Maybe, hopefully, you get full off. I'm assuming you're not traveling alone. You might be traveling alone. I don't like to travel alone. I want to be in the woods by myself. I'm assuming I'm out there with some friends. We're camping. We're settling. We're making our path in this new world. And, yeah. One horse gets eaten. Everybody run. And hopefully, by the time he's done with the other horses, you're far enough away that you don't have to worry about the Gumberoo consuming the most dangerous game of all. Man. So yeah, I keep saying he, because normally, I don't know, a lot of the readings, it seemed like they were leaning towards it was a male, but at the same time, I've heard it was also saying the species. So probably both. Some made it seem like there was only one Gumberoo, and some stories made it seem like there was a whole species of them. So hopefully out there reproducing, making beautiful Gumberoo babies, and yeah, starting forest fires all over. Terrible. Terrible. History. Let's go a little history of the Gumberoo. The scarcity of Gumberoos was perhaps due to their combustible character and the prevalence of forest fires. The animal burns like celluloid with explosive force. So frequently during and after a forest fire in heavy cedar near Coos Bay. We've already been over this. We've read this already. But I'm reiterating that the woodsmen have insisted that they heard loud reports quite unlike the sound of falling trees and detected the smell of burning rubber in the air. So this next fact, seriously, blew my mind. It just was amazing. So when the creature was photographed, the photo's negatives would explode as well. Seriously, mind blown. This creature is that combustible that even the negatives taken of the Gumberoo explode. Whew. That's intense. That's intense. It's a lot to wrap the head around, you know. So yeah, don't be taking pictures of the Gumberoo either. I don't know if your iPhone will explode or not, since it's not negatives, but I feel like just the sheer combustibility of the Gumberoo will transfer over into JPEG format and cause your phone to explode. Don't take pictures of Gumberoo. The great thing about this is it's not swift. This is not a fast hunter. The Gumberoo is not swift in movements. He's actually a gentle giant. Let's be honest. He's just hungry. It's just hungry. I keep saying it's just hungry. The Gumberoo is out there. He's in hibernating like every other bear. He just eats a little more. He's just got some hunger issues. Let's be kind to this gentle giant. Let's realize, hey, we're all hungry. We all need to eat. And this bear hasn't eaten in months. He's been hibernating for who knows how long. And now the Gumberoo it's ready to eat. It's not our fault. That's nature, baby. You just got to let nature do its thing. That's there's no stopping it. I mean, we're encroaching on the Gumberoo's land. Let's be honest, all right? So maybe we're cutting down trees, losing some of his food sources. If he eats a lumberjack, it's going to happen. I can't be angry at him. I mean, I can feel sad for the lumberjack and the family of said lumberjack. Gumberoo is just living its life, you know. We're in his home now. So, best bet, stay out of the woods. That's it. I mean, just go desert camping. Enjoy some sand. Enjoy some nice sunlight, you know, stuff like that. Just stay out of the woods. There's only been one confirmed kill. And that was in 1957 when Mike Mulligan and Abernathy Quinn killed a Gumberoo. I don't believe they fully explained how they did it. I think there was some combustion involved. But, yeah, Abernathy. How about that, Abernathy? Let's bring that back. I'm not planning on having any kids, but let's get Abernathy back in the child name list. Can we do that? It's a fun name. You can call him Abe for short, or Nathy, or Nat, or Berna. So many options with Abernathy. Abernathy Quinn and Mike Mulligan. Shame on you. Shame on you for killing the Gumberoo. I'm not an advocate for hunting. Sorry. Especially when it's a Gumberoo. I mean, they're obviously endangered. Let's It's hurtful. It's hurtful just to think about it. It hurts my heart. In 2015, there was a horror-inspired Fearsome Creatures. And the Gumberoo in Fearsome Creatures has 13 limbs, 10 arms, and 3 legs. Tell me that's not creepy. The bear is not a gentle giant in Fearsome Creatures from 2015. After being burned, if a human inhales the particles of the beast, the organs will get coated with rubber. That's interesting, which is easily misdiagnosed as tuberculosis. Its natural enemy was said to be the Timberdoodle, which clamps down its teeth and will not let go until thunder is heard. Timberdoodle. You know what a Timberdoodle is? I don't either, and I should have looked it up. But the Timberdoodle, clamping down its teeth until thunder is heard. Which that's one thing I've noticed living here in Oregon. The thunderstorms. A lot of rain, but not a lot of thunderstorms. Now Iowa, Iowa was a fine spot for some thunderstorm action. If you wanted to just have a very calm, peaceful sleep, you better hope it's thunderstormy that night. Because if it is, you're out. You're out all night. Sleeping like a dream. So yeah, having a Timberdoodle. Imagine running up on a Timberdoodle and having it bite down on you. And you have to wait till thunderstorm. Which I was informed there is a thunderstorm season here, where we'll actually hear thunderstorms. Wait to see. I think they said the fall. I got here. But even when I lived in Eugene about 20 years ago, and I don't remember any thunderstorms there, and I was there all year for 2 years. I may be being mistold truths. Either way, yeah. So don't plan on that Timberdoodle unclamping anytime soon if you're in Oregon when this is happening. The second weakness, the Gumberoo, and it's the only animal that the bear fears. It's the Timberdoodle. So, I mean, he's kind of like the alpha, I don't know, I guess, of the entire wooded area. He's like an apex predator, let's put it that way. There's nothing else there that's gonna hunt him except for the Timberdoodle. So I guess maybe the Timberdoodle is the apex predator. I don't know. Either way, stay away from Timberdoodles and stay away from Gumberoo. So because of the Timberdoodle, the Gumberoo is a coward when its rubbery skin is bitten. So yeah, that's a lot there. That is a lot we've packed in there. Timberdoodles and Gumberoos. That's all I got, honestly. That is the extent of my knowledge on the Gumberoo. And honestly, it's there's a decent amount of articles on Gumberoo. There's actually, I feel like there's an equal amount of articles talking about the Gumberoo bear itself and Rogue's Gumberoo IPA. I feel like if you're doing a Google search, it's like every other one is every other one. But yeah, I mean, there's limited information, but enough that it was enough to get us through this podcast. I think this was a very informative journey for myself and you through the Lumberwoods and on the Gumberoo. And it gave me a chance to draw the amazing Gumberoo. So, which honestly, I feel like I should, when this is all done, go back through and try and do actual drawings of each of the creatures. Just because outside of the next one, which I haven't even looked, I need to look more in that, see image-wise, but the Gumberoo and Colossal Clawed for sure don't have a lot of artist depictions of them. And I feel like the picture I drew with legs on it, or fins, I guess, large fins, probably wasn't accurate by most of the descriptions I heard. And it wasn't very, it was hard to tell that it wasn't in water. So I got to put some water in the next drawing. I think my girlfriend asked me if it was a horse, which I could see it has a camel's head and those fins there, those wide fins. But I like to think I draw better than that. Like if it was a horse, you would know it was a horse. But either way, yeah. So the Gumberoo. That's it. So it's gonna be a little bit shorter episode. We're running at about 40 minutes here. Probably about 40 minutes after I edit everything out and get it all cleaned up for you. But yeah, this is week 2 of the Rogue IPA Monsters of IPA. I'd say it's a series on that, but it is kind of a series on that. But yeah, good times. Good times. You know what else is good times? Following all of our socials. And you know where all of our socials can be found at? So I wish I would have thought of this sooner for We Don't Talk Politics, but I can wrap it all up here with Linktree. So Linktree, I don't know if you've seen them. I'm sure you've seen them. A lot of people will have on their profiles, in their bios, they'll have a Linktree link for their website. That'll be their website, which will just link you to everything else, to all of their different social medias on our Linktree. So it's linktr.ee/DOTU podcast, which will be, it's on our Instagram, it's on our Twitter. I don't know if it's on the YouTube or not, but either way, you'll be able to, I think it's on our Anchor page, but either way, you'll be able to click on that and it'll bring you to the page that gives you links to all the listening platforms you can listen to it on. Please subscribe. Love subscriptions. If it's free, please subscribe. It helps get our podcast, it helps get my podcast more noted. I'm running this thing solo. This is all me. But yeah, all the listening platforms, YouTube, again, please subscribe. If you do subscribe, there's also got the little bell there next to it. Click on the little bell and it will note, same with most of the listening platforms. Spotify for sure. But if you click on the little bell, it will notify you when we have new things come out. You'll get a notification either through your push notifications. Patreon, you can support us for as little as $1 a month. Right now, I'm just loading up the podcast and the YouTubes on there, the YouTube videos. So that's what's on there. TikTok. I'm on there. I'm on there as Doors of the Universe. I think I'm on there as DOTU podcast. I just put little snippets on there from the YouTube videos. Just try and give you a little feel of what's going on in that episode. So, yeah, TikTok. I'm at this age and this is my first time on TikTok and I'm trying not to be on TikTok as much as possible. I made it this far without being on TikTok. I intentionally made myself not be on TikTok because I have a problem with scrolling endlessly. And TikTok, from what I can tell so far, is definitely somewhere where you could scroll endlessly. Either way, please subscribe or follow us, I guess, on TikTok. Instagram and Twitter, DOTU podcast, both on there. And it also, the link tree also includes a link to the We Don't Talk Politics podcast, which is the other podcast I'm a part of and do with two friends. It is not as consistent as this one. This one comes out so far, which I've been planning on doing, is on a bi-weekly basis. And that one comes out when we can all get together and are able to do it. But either way, so it's linktr.ee/DOTU podcast. You'll be able to reach all those things there. And I feel like I concised it up there. Girlfriend, I asked her, is there any constructive criticism that you can offer? And she said, cut the ending shorter, make it shorter. Don't have such a long outro. And I said, fair enough. So now you have the Linktree address. Connect to all of our socials, and please like, subscribe, follow, whatever that social media does. Do it, please. It helps me, helps the podcast grow. And if you enjoy the podcast, tell a friend, share it on social media somewhere. Let somebody else see that you're enjoying this and that there is podcasts out there they might enjoy too, especially since the cryptid podcasts are not as prevalent as a lot of the comedy or stand-up ones. So I was excited to get started making this, and I was excited to be part of that podcast community. So we will end it there, and I will say to you, thank you for listening. Keep an eye to the sky, and do desert camping instead of in the forest. See y'all in 2 weeks.